What is going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to the Tundra Dude 34 YouTube channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you know every time I put up a new video and or a live stream. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our week with the 2022 Tundra is now over. So this is the final video about the truck. It's going to be some pros, some cons, some overall thoughts on the truck, but most importantly, I want to hear what you guys think. And I'm talking to two separate groups. The folks that have driven a 2022 and those that are still kind of up in the air if they want to trade their older generation Tundra for the new Tundra. It was a great experience. I thank Toyota, I thank Drive Shop for allowing me to review the 2022 Tundra, as it was a very big deal. As a Tundra enthusiast and Tundra lover, I really just wanted to get behind the wheel and see what this thing was all about. In the Tundra world, it was extremely anticipated for a very long time. So today, I'm going to hit you with some pros and cons. If you didn't see any of the videos, at the end of this video, I will put up the link to the playlist on all the videos I made on the truck. We did some live streams. It was a great time. It was a 2022 Toyota Tundra Crew Max 5.5 foot bed, because there's two options now. And it was the limited trim with the TRD off-road package. This thing was nicely loaded. It had everything in it, the 14-inch screen, all the bells and whistles of this truck. It didn't have the digital gauge cluster. It doesn't have the hybrid engine. This was your regular iForce 3.5 liter V6 twin turbo. And it was a different experience than I expected. When you see my first impressions drive, you will understand that. I took notes in my phone all week, so I'm kind of just gonna go through what I wrote down and try to make sense of it all. This truck's sticker, MSRP, was just under $61,000. So keep that in mind. The TRD off-road package, amazing this time around with the 2022 Tundra. You get your Bilstein shocks, you get your skid plates, you get the awesome 20-inch TRD wheel. This had Bridgestone dualer tires. If you get the TRD off-road package in the SR5, it's an 18-inch wheel. Keep that in mind. That's an 18-inch wheel and tire package. Limited in 1794 TRD off-road do have this 20-inch wheel. It also gives you the multi-terrain select, the crawl control. You get a little bit more. You get a red TRD push button. There are a few more options for your TRD off-road package. But overall, nice truck. So anyway, let's go with the pros first, and then we'll go with the cons. There are quite a few of both of them. Number one, this is all pros right now, the backup camera. Not only is the backup image way more clear, and it's like a 360 setup, so you see everything around you. One thing I used to complain about with my backup sensors in my 2017 Platinum is when you get close to something, you start to hear a tone as you get close, just a beep basically telling you you're about to slam into a fence or another car. My issue was that beep was never loud enough unless you were paying attention to it, which you should be paying attention. But when you spend this kind of money on a truck, I want the truck to let me know how close I'm getting. Now, what would happen in the 2022 Tundra is it would mute your radio or whatever you got playing, and that tone was very loud. And as you got closer, the tone would increase from beep beep to rapid beeps. And it was awesome. It did really well. And you guys aren't going to understand. I'm going to try to show pictures right now. My driveway fits 2 vehicles fine, 3 vehicles kind of tough, but 3 big vehicles like 2 Tundras and a 4Runner, we were parking these trucks this far away. So that mattered a lot with backing up. So the backup camera is a lot clearer, much improved, and with that big 14-inch infotainment screen, it made everything come together really, really nice. Now to segue into that, another pro, just in general, the camera systems, the 360 camera, the trailer hitch camera, the bed camera, they've stepped their game up with the cameras and the sensors because, excuse me, even parking forward, if I was pulling into something, as I started to get close, those sensors popped on, the camera popped on up front to let me know how close I was getting, bird's eye view, everything was where it needs to be. Now, these cameras have been in Toyota for a long time. It's just good to see them finally come to the Tundra. A bigger half-ton truck, sometimes you have some blind spots, so huge pro all the way around with the camera systems, especially the tones. When you get close to something, how it mutes the radio, great, great idea. Another huge pro, and I want to stress this to you guys, JBL sound system is way better than it was in the 14 to 21 generation. Now, in my 2020 TRD Pro, the JBL sound system isn't bad. It's just the issues I see is when you put the windows down, it's really hard to hear that radio unless you turn it all the way up. This system today, you didn't really have to go all the way up. There was a lot more adjusting with the sound. There's a big subwoofer behind the back seat. The radios or the stereo system is 10 times better than it was in the last generation. So I applaud Toyota. I'm sure they listened to us because everyone was not a fan of that JBL in last generation. So this one is definitely a lot better as far as sound and adjustment of sound. Keep that in mind. Now, getting into the mechanics of the truck a little bit here. Brakes. The brakes on the truck were absolutely amazing. It didn't feel like... Now, the brakes on the 14 to 21 and even the 07 to 13 and prior generation, there's nothing wrong with the brakes. You just get used to them in any vehicle after a while. I feel like these brakes were finely tuned to that 2022 Tundra. It didn't take any getting used to. It stopped the truck nicely. And I'm not going to say stop the truck on a dime. I'm going to say, depending on how much pressure you put on that pedal, it never felt like I was getting brake dive at all. It felt like the truck really all came together and kind of stopped the truck together. And this is one thing I was saying in prior videos in driving the truck. Everything about the frame, the body, everything, the suspension really did feel like it worked together to get you down the road, stop you. There wasn't a lot of swaying, body rolling, brake diving, which is what we're talking about right now. It was a completely different driving experience, but we will go into that. Another big pro is seats. I don't dislike the seats in the 14 to 21. I always said to people, I feel like with the seats in the 14 to 21, I feel like you're sitting on top of the seat more than down in the seat. Well, the setup they have now in the 2022 Tundra, there's a lot more bolstering. I'm actually sitting, you can't really see, but I'm sitting in a 2022 1794 seat right now, and the bolstering right here, it really holds you in, to the seat a lot better. You don't really slide around. Also, with the truck having less body sway and everything like that, and body roll and all that, it just was a different driving experience. Everything is really tight, and the bolstering definitely helps to keep you in place. So seats were amazing. 14 to 21 seats, not terrible. 2022 seats, different experience, like a sports car. You'll hear the term sports car a few times in this video. Other things I wrote down for pro, more options. Obviously, the truck is loaded up now, but a huge pro on it is how you can load the truck up. You don't necessarily have to buy a massive package for it. You could kind of single out the things you want here and there. And as we walked around an SR5, a couple months ago when it first came out, it was your base model SR5, but it had the big 14-inch screen. It had certain luxury features in it, soft text leather, that you couldn't get back in the day on the 14 to 21. So you don't have to get that really expensive package. You could go and you can buy kind of, or build your truck a certain way that you would want it. So if a dealer has an allocation coming in and you want certain things, you could save a little money by just getting what you want. They made that a lot better. And a lot of other brands do that too, but I always felt like Toyota, you had to buy, if you want this, well, you're going to need to get the TRD off-road package, stuff like that. But now you can kind of single out what you want. I think that's a huge pro. And as we were just saying here, another one I have written here is the ride. And I mean that with the suspension, just the overall feel of the truck, very, very tight, like a sports car. That's what I was feeling the whole time. I took a lot of rides in this truck with and without a camera. After my first impression drive video, it wasn't what I expected. So the next day I woke up and I took like a 2-3 hour drive all over the place just to get a feel. No camera. I just wanted to get a feel for the truck. This was my first time driving the 2022 Tundra. To be able to talk to you guys about it, I wanted to be able to just pay attention to the stuff going on with the truck. The driving feel, the acceleration, the power, all of that. I wanted to feel every little thing, the braking. And that was the best ride I ever took because I was able to get a good feel of that truck. But overall, the ride of the truck, and this is when, I've said this a few times in these videos in making this truck, this is when it's going to come down to you. You personally, not me. Everyone's a little bit different. With the new Tundra, everything is super tight. It holds you in place really well. Everything works together to get the truck down the road really nice. The brakes are great. And that's great if you like that style of driving, if you like that tight feel on the truck. With the last generation, 14 to 21, you had a little body roll, a little sway. The steering was a lot looser. But that is something that I actually like in a driving experience with the Tundra, which makes me love my 2020 TRD Pro because it has more of that old school truck feel. And that's the biggest difference here. 2022 Tundra, everything is modernized, everything is features and tech, and the driving experience is completely different. Is it for the better? It depends on who you are, if you like that kind of feel. But each truck is very, very different, which is why I suggest everyone test drive. Test drive a 2022 Tundra. you know, before you do anything, just to make sure it's something you like, because the ride of the vehicle is very different from last generation. If you take anything from this video, take that right there. Very different. Not bad, just different. So you got to see which one you like better. That's why in that video, the impressions video, if you go back and watch that, I was just kind of confused because it really did feel nothing like the driving experience of the old gen. I expected more of the old gen when it came to the driving experience. No, this was ground up remodel all the way through. I want to hear your opinions on that if you own a Tundra or if you've driven a 2022. Another huge pro is acceleration and power. You know, there's sport. In this one, there was eco, normal, and sport mode, okay? Eco, it is what it is. It's the same thing as an eco setup in any vehicle. It's just trying to save you the fuel mileage, but it's really all about how you drive at the end of the day anyway. Normal, I didn't really like it first. It felt like it was kind of forced to get the truck down the road and going. And I liked sport. I got tired of sport because sport, like any kind of sport mode in any vehicle, you know, it changes your shift points and everything. And the truck always feels very jumpy to me in sport. So what I did was I went back to normal mode and I just kind of found the way that I want to drive the truck, you know, how much pressure I have to put down on the pedal to get it moving down the road the way I want. One thing just now before I forget, in my pros I didn't put here, the 10-speed transmission, flawless shifting, if you like that. In the old truck, the 6-speed transmission, I feel like you could feel every single gear shift into the next gear, almost like a manual. This 10-speed works quiet, works flawless. You don't feel it at all. Truck definitely gets down the road nice. So acceleration and power, definitely 10-speed transmission, a total pro if you're into that. I was worried about the 10-speed transmission, and they blew my mind with it in a good way here. So let's see. So that is my pros as of right now. Like I said, I tried to do a list as I was driving through the week so I didn't forget. There's a couple I put here in the middle. That's not necessarily a pro or con. We'll talk about it at the end. But let's go to the cons real quick. All right, here we go. Sometimes the truck hesitates to go. And now I'm looking at the 2022 Tundra owners and people who have been behind the wheel a little bit to back me up on this, or maybe it was just me and the truck that I was in. Sometimes I would put my, okay, so let's go 5.7 liter V8 Tundra, my 2020. You put your foot on the pedal, you take your foot off the brake, truck's rolling immediately, ready to go. You put your foot on the gas, you're going down the road. With this truck, it almost felt like I had to give way more pressure than usual to even get the truck moving down the road. It was an odd feeling, it was very different than what I'm used to. And it wasn't necessarily what mode I was in as far as eco, normal, or sport. It did it all the time until I really got used to how much pressure I need to put down on the pedal. And there would be times when I was expecting it to happen and I would give a little more pressure, like at a stop sign, and then go, and I would have like that big jolt forward. So it was just something that was a little bit different and weird. I've never really experienced that. So if anyone could back me up on that, definitely a con, because it was confusing on where I would need to be. If I owned the truck, maybe after a while I would get used to it. But any 2022 owners that have had that experience, once again, I said sometimes the truck hesitates to go. Let me know what you think about that. Very different from the feel in the 2020 for sure. My one hate. This isn't even like, oh, I could get used to it or no. I have a hate from this truck, and it's the wireless charger on the inside of the truck. Now, I don't have success with wireless chargers. A lot of them do this, so it's not Toyota's fault. I like the way they tried to design it. They designed it so it sits like this, right? So this is your layout. You sit it up against the charger. A little light comes on telling you it's charging. Here's the issue. Every time you hit a bump, the phone moves every time, and it messes with the charging. It stops the process of charging, and then it won't start again. Or it'll stop the process of charging, and then continually you see the charge light come back on like, okay, we're charging, now we're not charging. Okay, we're charging, now we're not charging. And it happened no matter what. If I was going slow, if I was going fast, anytime I hit a bump. And I have the fix for it. There's a little notch on the side of the truck right next to the wireless charger that kind of holds the phone in place. On this side, they need to make like an adjustable thing that, you know, you sit your phone down and then you adjust it to hold tight against your phone, and then the phone wouldn't shake off the charger so much. But I absolutely hated that. I ended up putting my USB cord in there just to charge the phone because, I don't know, wasn't having much success with it. Once again, not my first experience with a wireless charger. I wasn't a big fan of the other few that I've used in other vehicles. This one, I like the idea of how they had it on the angle so it wouldn't do this, but man, it was breaking the charge left and right. I did not have one successful ride where the charge stayed right the whole time, or it didn't keep breaking the charge. So again, feel free to comment below if you've had that experience or if you think I'm wrong. Another one, and I want to explain this a little bit, is wind noise. In the beginning of my experience with the truck, I felt the cabin, another pro, the cabin is very quiet if you like that kind of thing. But at first, the first couple rides, I was hearing a lot of wind noise, almost like something was, maybe a window didn't go all the way up or a door wasn't all the way shut. So the first two rides, I put that down immediately in my cons, like, ooh, there's way too much wind noise in this. My 2020 and some of the other 14 to 21s that I've driven don't have that issue. So I figured that must go down in the cons. Now, I will tell you this. What I did after the second drive, I rolled down all the windows in the truck and then I rolled them back up. I made sure I went to every door and shut them tight, and then the wind noise stopped. So I think it was something to do with the way maybe the driver's side window wasn't going all the way up into the channel correctly, but it was corrected and I didn't experience that after the first couple of rides with the truck. But I'm still keeping that in the cons. I'd like to hear what people think if they're having a little bit more wind noise than they should. But that was there. Another one, and we talked about this in my last video with my 2020 when we got back in the TRD Pro, the bed noise. So when I was going over, they're doing a lot of sewage work around here right now where they're pulling out all the old pipes and they're putting in new pipes, and then they're not doing the full pave of the road, they're just paving the strip where they took the pipe out for now. The road is very uneven and very rough, and I really like to take the Fox suspension with my Pro over that just to kind of see how the truck reacts and how good the suspension really is. Well, when I took my 2022 that I had over that, all I could hear the whole time, with the back window up and all the windows up, was the composite bed bouncing around. Like you could hear the whole bed just moving and banging. And it was very, very noticeable. Even my wife was in the truck and she said, do you have something in the bed? And when you rolled it down, it was extremely obvious. But yesterday, in my 2020, we took it on the same road, and you could also hear the bed in that truck as well. A lot more in the 2022, but that's just something with an empty pickup truck bed, I guess. But when I first heard that, I was like, wow, that is a lot louder than I thought it would be. So I put it in the cons. There was a lot of bed noise going, uneven terrain, in this case, a really rough road. Let's see. I put startup. And I put startup because it's something I'll need to get used to. In driving a big, loud 5.7 liter V8 truck for so long with the big TRD dual exhaust on it, which sounds amazing, it took me a little time to go to the truck, start it, and it was extremely quiet. It didn't feel like a pickup truck at all. 3.5 liter V6 twin turbo, single outlet exhaust. It was something just a little bit different to get used to. After a while, I kind of understood it. There is really good sound when you're going down the road in the truck. At first, I thought it was the exhaust, like they had a really good tuned exhaust on the 3.5 V6 twin turbo. But it turns out it's fake noise that's fed in through the JBL sound system. Not necessarily a bad thing because the sound is very good. So as long as me, the driver, is happy, I guess that's all that matters. But outside, the truck is very quiet, and the startup is not what you'd expect when you're used to the classic style of a pickup truck. Especially if you're someone that has headers and exhaust or superchargers and things like that, or you come from that, this is going to be a little bit different and something to get used to. So that is something I would have to get used to. And I had to put this, no tow hooks. We got to get tow hooks on the 2023 Tundra. That's one thing. I'm sure there's companies out there ready to, fabricate some into what we have. I don't understand the no tow hooks thing. It's a truck. You need some grab points in the front. Even in the back would be nice, but no tow hooks was weird for me. Obviously, I wasn't in any situation of needing tow hooks, but just walking around the truck, I was kind of seeing where they could have fabbed them in. And I know they wanted to get the MPG right, but yeah, that's something they should probably work on going forward. And I can't wait to see. I know there's companies out there working on that right now to get tow hooks on these trucks. You're going to see them on Facebook eventually. Someone's going to do their own work to get that done. So now we go down. That's the pros and the cons. Now we go down to the middle. This is kind of some of the things that I wanted you guys to let me know what you think. It's kind of in the middle. There's a few. And I really didn't put this in great order, so I apologize for the extremely long video. So not a pro, not a con, just kind of hanging out. in purgatory. Steering and handling like a sports car is what I wrote. If that's something you like, you're going to love it. If that's something you don't like, you're probably going to want to stay in the 14 to 21, or you're going to have to get used to it, because the driving experience from old gen to new gen it's not like going from a Tundra to a Tundra. It's like going to a completely different model. Is it something I got used to over the week? Absolutely. I got used to it. I started to find things I liked in the truck when I discovered how I like to drive the truck, which is something I didn't expect. I thought I would get in, love it, or hate it. And that wasn't the case. I had to get in, and that's why I took that long ride and find how I like to drive the truck. It turns out like normal was good when I learned how I like to get onto the pedal to make it so it doesn't have that slow start that I was talking about in the cons. Everything started to come together really nice, and I enjoyed the driving experience very much. You got to go into it knowing that the steering is very tight and that the whole truck, I've said this so many times through this week, works together to get you down the road. Everything is in sync. Everything is in tune with each other. It's not like your suspension and frames going one way and your body's on top and you're floating around. That is a thing of the past. This thing is a super tight driving experience. So that's going to be something that I left in the middle there, because there's going to be some people who love it and there's going to be some people who hate it. Another thing in the middle, it's very quiet, which we just spoke about. Getting used to the startup sound. The truck itself is just a very quiet experience. The interior with the truck going down the road, once I figured out that wind noise issue, very, very nice, very, very easy if you like that. It's just a quiet experience. Cab, everything about the truck, the engine noise is quiet. It's not a bad thing. The only time you get any kind of noise is when the JBL sound system is kicking in that exhaust note, which is very enjoyable. Sorry about that. Had to switch cameras. One camera died, so had to go to another. As I was saying, in the purgatory level, not necessarily a pro or con, we said steering and handling like a sports car. We said very quiet. Last but not least in that section, the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6. There's going to be some who love that. There's going to be some who hate that. They got rid of the V8. A lot of people are not happy about that. But if you're in it for, the MPG, there's a little bit more MPG in this. Now, I was experiencing around 15.2 by the end of it. The highway drive that I took at the very end got that number. It was kind of hanging around 14.8 to 15 the whole time when I was doing city driving. The truck is very new. It's not broken in yet. I was driving it, not necessarily super hyper miling it or anything like that. So I'm sure I could get higher fuel mileage down the road with it. And that's not the hybrid, which should give you a couple more MPG also. Keep that in mind. But I'm leaving that in the middle because there's some people who like that and want the twin turbo technology and some people who don't. So comment below. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about that one. Other things I wrote here really quick. So I was giving a score to the truck kind of through the week with my first ride, with my live streams. I was talking about it a little bit. The initial score was a 6.2. 6.2 is what I started the truck with. Now, at the end of the week, after learning how to drive it and figuring out what I like and dislike about the whole driving experience, it gets a 7.8. That's what I'm giving the limited that I drove, a 7.8. Not a bad score. People ask, well, if you're giving that a 7.8, what is, or a 6.2 in the beginning, what is your 2020 TRD Pro to you? I'm giving that an 8.9. I've given that an 8.9 for a while. I kind of like the driving feel of my older generation because that's what I'm so used to. I kind of like that looser steering feel and, the sway of the truck, which I feel like in the later years of last generation, they really improved the handling and the body roll of the truck in general. So that 19 to 21 feel is a lot better than it was in past generations. So that 8.9 on that 2020 TRD Pro. Of the 6 Tundras I've owned, including one being supercharged, this is my favorite Tundra with the driving feel and the little bit of technology it has in it, like Entune 3.0 and like the push button start. It was time for the truck to get up there. So the 2022 we were in started out at a 6.2 and it went to a 7.8. That's not a bad score at all. We're going to leave it right there under 8 for now. I need more seat time. That's one thing I'm going to say. A week was not enough for this brand new generation. I want more time in the truck to get, to get that feel that we're talking about. I started to find what I like about it, but I didn't have enough time to do a lot with it. I want to take it on some trips. I want to tow the boat a little bit and just get a vibe for it. Maybe take it somewhere off-road just to see how it feels off-road. I think it would do great off-road just with the Bilstein suspension I had on this and the big 20-inch wheel and tire package, which is not what a lot of people off-road like. It did a great job in rough terrain and on rough situations. I had it on a rocky dirt path at one point. And obviously did fine. I don't know how it would do in, extreme off-road conditions, but just the overall stuff that a lot of people deal with, camping, going to your favorite fishing spot, the beach, this truck could handle it fine. But I would like to, I need more seat time with the truck. That's basically what I'm saying. I will say this for now, and this is where I'm going to hang out for now. I haven't driven the hybrid yet. The term game changer was floating around for the 2022 Tundra. It's going to change the game. Game changer? No. Did it catch up to the segment to be relevant with the other trucks in that half-ton segment? Yes. So I don't feel the game changer aspect of it, but I love what they did to bring the technology and some of the features of the truck to where it needs to be. Now, that hybrid is toting some big numbers, okay, as far as horsepower and torque. So that might make me be like, okay, this is definitely a game changer. We're getting high power and better MPG. I look forward to that. Getting in a TRD Pro in the next generation, I look forward to that. So for now, that's where I'm going to live. Game changer? No. Catch up to the segment? Absolutely. Is it relevant with the rest of the segment? Absolutely. Needs tow hooks, though. Let's see. Another thing I wrote here, because I was just kind of writing notes by the end. I like the fact that it didn't have many gimmicks to it. A lot of people were waiting on, special bed steps and all this crazy stuff, massaging seats, things like that. It still is a truck. You get what you get the Toyota way. Less is more. We have all these features we want now. Heated steering wheels there, heated and cooled or ventilated seats. There's memory seats in the Limited now. There are a lot of cool luxury features, but it still didn't go gimmicky. It still is a Tundra at the end of the day, and I appreciate that. The less is more approach of Toyota, it's not like it used to be, but it is still there. It's still just a truck. There's just a lot of options in it. I will say exactly what I wrote here, and this was basically what we've been saying through this whole video. Some people will love it, some won't, because it is a completely different experience. It's not bad or good, it's just different. If you go in with the mindset of listening to myself, there's other YouTubers that are driving Tundras too, and kind of take what we all say, but form your own opinion, you're going to be all right. Go in with an open mind, but please know that it is very different than the last gen. When I went in, which again, check out that first drive impressions video, I wasn't ready for that different of a feel. But after the week with it, I started to appreciate a lot more things about it. That big 14-inch screen, at first when I got in, I was like, that's way too big. That's just way too big. But by the end of it, I appreciated it. It wasn't too bright at night. It has a night feature on it. It wasn't annoying. I started to like the way it flowed with the interior. So, go in with an open mind. That's basically what I'm saying to everyone. And the last thing I wrote on here is the truck definitely got much needed upgrades. Locking rear diff. I like the TRD off-road package a lot more now. The headlight, taillight package is amazing. JBL sound system definitely upgraded. But those are the pros and cons. Very long video, and I apologize, but I wanted to get all my notes out there, kind of give you an idea of how I feel, so you can come back at me and let me know what are some of your pros and cons. Are you someone that is in the market for the next generation 2022 Tundra? I want to hear it all. Go down in the comments. I appreciate you guys for watching as always. I actually took the week off from work to review the truck because I wanted to give you guys content where I wasn't working overnight and coming home and trying to do it tired with no sleep. I wanted to really focus on this truck for you because these trucks are not cheap. And if you're going to spend your hard-earned money, I want to be part of your system in your research to see if you guys really want to spend that money or not. But at the end of the day, a very enjoyable experience. Really can't wait for more seat time with the truck. When the truck was getting picked up, the first thing I was thinking is I was sad to see it go because I want more seat time with it. It is the future of the Tundra. As a Tundra lover first, channel owner second or third, I'm happy that Toyota has put this much time and effort into the next generation Tundra. Maybe it's not There's things people like and dislike now, but I think as we go, we'll learn and the truck will grow in the way hopefully we all want it to. And we'll go from there. But I definitely can't wait to get behind the wheel of another one. So thank you, Toyota, once again, Drive Shop. You guys are the best. I appreciate it. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook at TundraDude34, TundraDude34 at gmail.com. I'll talk to you guys soon. I appreciate you.